Welcome to Improve Edition, the channel dedicated to practicing and improving your English listening skills. Hear more, understand more, and speak confidently. Chapter 1. The Beginning, Struggling to Understand. You have always dreamed of speaking fluent English. You imagine yourself traveling the world, making new friends, and having deep conversations with people from different cultures. You have spent hours studying grammar rules, memorizing long lists of vocabulary words, and even practicing sentences in front of the mirror. You can read and write well, but when it comes to listening and speaking, everything feels much harder. Whenever you try to listen to native speakers, you feel overwhelmed. The words come too fast. The sounds seem to merge. And before you can process the first sentence, the conversation has already moved forward. You ask yourself, why is it so difficult? I know these words when I see them written, but when people speak, I just can't understand. You feel frustrated and nervous, especially when someone asks you a question and you don't know how to respond. In class or while watching movies, you often rely on subtitles to help you understand. Without them, you feel lost. You nod politely in conversations, hoping that your expressions make sense, even when you don't fully grasp what's being said. This lack of confidence makes you avoid situations where you need to listen carefully, and it stops you from improving. One day, after another frustrating experience where you couldn't follow a simple conversation, you decide that enough is enough. You realize that listening is a skill, just like reading or writing, and skills can be improved with practice. You want to change. You want to improve your listening skills and become a confident English speaker. But where should you start? Chapter 2. The first step, training your ear. You realize that you need to get used to hearing English every day. At first, it seems overwhelming, but you know that practice is the key to improvement. You decide to make listening a daily habit by including it in your routine. You start with simple and enjoyable content, listening to English podcasts, watching TV shows, and following YouTube channels made for English learners. To make the process easier, you choose materials with subtitles and slow speed options. However, just listening is not enough. You need a method to make the most of it. So, you follow a structured approach. Step 1. Listen once with subtitles to understand the meaning. Pay attention to new words and phrases. If you don't understand something, pause and check the meaning. Step 2. Listen again without subtitles, focusing on key words and phrases. Try to recognize words based on their sounds rather than reading them. Step 3. Repeat difficult sections multiple times and try to copy the pronunciation. Say the sentences aloud to match the rhythm and intonation of the speaker. Step 4. Write down key phrases you hear often and practice using them in your own sentences. Step 5. Challenge yourself by listening to different speakers and accents. Start with clear and slow speech, then gradually move to faster, natural conversations. At first, the process feels slow. You still miss some words, and understanding fast speech is difficult. But as the days go by, you start recognizing common phrases. You begin to understand simple sentences without subtitles. You catch familiar words in conversations, even when spoken quickly. Slowly, you notice progress, and your confidence starts to grow. Chapter 3. Breakthrough, the imitation technique. After a few weeks, you'll learn about a useful technique called mirroring, repeating words and sentences immediately after you hear them. You pick a short podcast and listen to a native speaker, trying to imitate their intonation, speed, and pronunciation. At first, it's hard to keep up. Your words are slower and sound unnatural. You struggle with some difficult sounds, and sometimes you can't repeat the sentence exactly. But instead of giving up, you take it step by step. Step 1. Choose short, clear audio clips from a podcast, audiobook, or language learning video. Step 2. Listen to a short segment, a sentence or phrase, and pause. Step 3. Repeat the sentence immediately, imitating the speaker's pronunciation, rhythm, and intonation as closely as possible. Step 4. Repeat the same sentence over and over again until your pronunciation improves. Step 5. Gradually move on to longer sentences and try to speak along with the speaker without stopping. At first, you feel awkward. Your accent doesn't sound like a native speaker's and it's hard to keep up with their speed. But you persevere, practicing for at least 10 minutes a day. Gradually, your pronunciation becomes clearer, words flow more naturally, and you begin to recognize common sentence patterns. You notice your tongue and mouth becoming more comfortable with English sounds. After a few weeks, you try to imitate longer conversations. You pick a favorite podcast and listen to it while walking or doing housework. You repeat the sentences softly, training your ears and mouth. You also begin to notice patterns in pronunciation, such as the way native speakers link words together or drop certain sounds. Then one day, something amazing happens. You're watching a TV show without subtitles and you realize you can understand entire sentences without having to pause. The words no longer feel separate, they flow naturally into your brain. And you don't have to translate each word in your head. You feel proud of your progress. Mimicking has helped you overcome your listening barrier and speak confidently. Chapter 4. Real Conversations, Facing the Fear. The real test comes when you decide to join an English conversation group. You feel nervous. What if you don't understand? What if you make mistakes? You take a deep breath and remind yourself that mistakes are part of learning. During the first session, your heart beats fast as you introduce yourself. At first, you focus on just listening. The conversation moves quickly, and you don't catch everything. But you keep going. Instead of trying to understand every word, you focus on the key ideas. You soon realize that understanding the overall message is more important than knowing every single word. To help yourself, you apply active listening techniques. Give full attention to the speaker instead of thinking about your response. This helps you absorb the words and meaning better. Ask follow-up questions to keep the conversation going and show interest. Questions like, "What do you mean?" or "Can you give an example?" help you stay engaged. Repeat what you hear in your own words to confirm your understanding. This makes the conversation smoother and reduces misunderstandings. At first, it feels awkward. You hesitate, and sometimes, you don't know what to say. But to your surprise, people appreciate your efforts. They don't mind if you make mistakes. They are happy that you are trying. You realize that even if you don't understand every word, you can still communicate well. The more you practice, the more confident you become. Day by day, conversations feel easier, and your fear of speaking fades away. Chapter 5. The Transformation, Confident and Fluent. Months pass, and your listening skills improve significantly. You can follow conversations easily, understand different accents, and express yourself clearly. You no longer feel afraid of making mistakes. You see them as part of the learning process. Looking back, you realize that fluency is not just about speaking, it is about listening, understanding, and connecting with people. With patience and practice, you have achieved your goal. Now, you enjoy conversations without stress, and English feels like a natural part of your life. Your journey starts now. Improving listening skills takes time, but with dedication, it is possible. If you want to improve your English fluency, follow these steps. Listen to English every day, podcasts, movies, and conversations. Practice shadowing, repeat after native speakers. Join real conversations, talk with others and practice regularly. Be patient and keep going. Fluency is a journey, not a race. Your confident English speaking journey starts today.